We want to sign 30 high ticket clients for Q1 of 2025. And just to give you the context, we spent about £4,000 per month on our LinkedIn ads, and that books us demos at something around £400 per demo. We close those demos at about 40%. And so our customer acquisition cost is around £1,000. So we're looking at roughly doubling the amount of clients that we bring on in a given quarter. What I see a lot of people doing at the moment is like breaking down strategies after they've been successful. I don't see a lot of people breaking down strategies before they've implemented them to say, this is what I'm going to do and this is what the result we want to see. So we're putting our neck on the line a little bit. If it doesn't work, then that's going to be maybe a little bit embarrassing.
Hello, David. Welcome back. We've got an exciting episode today. So I'm going to let you kind of run with it. So we've got quite a big goal for this quarter. Can you kind of talk about what you want to break down in this episode and what we're going to talk about?
Yeah, totally. So we've been in business now for coming up to nearly 2 years as B2B. So obviously we were Jaranga, an SEO agency previously, and then we kind of evolved into B2B, which was officially launched around February of 2023. So nearly 2 years we've been working on B2B. And I would say it's taken us about that time to find a product market fit, as in we knew we had something that people really wanted. And we now have ways of, and we have a team in place and we have the structure and the infrastructure to actually deliver that on a consistent basis to our clients that we're bringing on. So we've kept it small intentionally for that time period until we found something that was really ready to scale. Now we have the team and we have the infrastructure to give us the ability to scale. And so there's sort of nothing holding us back from increasing our marketing spend and in theory, achieving greater results with that. So I'll give you some numbers. I've got my marketing scorecard here. I probably won't share my screen because there is some like confidential stuff on here, but I'll give you some rough dummy numbers. I'm looking at the last 6 months or so of last year. On average, we spent about £4,000 per month on our LinkedIn ads. And then we're spending 800 to about £1,000 per month on a remote SDR to help with some of the engagement and appointment setting. So on average, we're spending about 5,000, something like £5,000 per month on LinkedIn specifically as a marketing channel. And that books us demos at something around £400 per demo. We close those demos at about 40%. And so our customer acquisition cost is around £1,000. So hopefully everyone's keeping up. So what we've done with our projections here is we've tried to keep some of the assumptions are, there's obviously a lot of assumptions here, but the assumptions are that if we can maintain those metrics at a greater scale, then that will ensure that the whole system is still mega profitable. So the projections forward are, if we were to double our spend over the next quarter, so to go from £15,000 we spend to £30,000, if we can maintain our cost per demo and our close rates, then that should sign us roughly 30 new high ticket clients if all of those metrics stay the same. Now, the funny thing is we're recording this on the 15th of January. We're 15 days in. We kind of relaunched the campaigns on the 6th of January, so just over a week ago. And actually the metrics are looking far better than we expected, which is obviously great. So at the moment, our cost per demo is less than £250, which is obviously significantly less than what we estimated at £400. That may drop over time, but that's a really, really positive sign for us.
That was a question I was going to ask you. Do you think that that's a seasonal response that we're seeing? Because it's January and a lot of people are like diving into the year. Do you expect that we'll be able to maintain those figures?
I think it is probably partly seasonal, for sure. And I think a lot of people, they don't pull the trigger on something in December. They wait till January. So even people that were thinking of booking in a demo with us, they might have waited till January. So I think it's partly seasonal. And I do think as well, obviously we've increased our ad spend. So we've reached a new audience probably with our ad spend. We've also looked at launching in some new markets. So we'll see kind of how that goes as well. But I think our goal, if we can keep our cost per demo, and this is the metric that we're really looking at, like if we can keep that below something like £400, then that ensures we're still kind of mega profitable, assuming we don't see any big drops in like close rates or anything like that. So what I'm trying to illustrate here, and I think what I see a lot of people doing at the moment is like breaking down strategies after they've been successful. And we've done that a lot as well. And what I'm interested to see what happens is like, I don't see a lot of people breaking down strategies before they've implemented them to say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what the result we want to see. So we're putting our neck on the line a little bit. If it doesn't work, then that's going to be maybe a little bit embarrassing. But it's really just an experiment, because this marketing channel has worked for us very well, and it's working for all of our partners very well. And so we want to see what happens in our business when we start to scale that up.
I'm going to take you back just now to something you said right at the beginning, and I hope this doesn't throw you off your train of thought. But you said that you feel like we found product market fit. And I think that that's one of the reasons that we are seeing success with our scaling up strategy, is that we know that our message is resonating with our audience. So it makes sense that we can spend more and get more results. Can you kind of talk me a little bit through the journey of how we got to finding product market fit? Some kind of like the steps, and how do we know that we found it?
So really good question. I see it in two parts. So we talk a lot about market resonance, and that is kind of like a precursor to product market fit. So market resonance is when you've lined up your market message with the audience. So you found an audience, and then you found a way of communicating with them that they really resonate with and they connect with, and they get excited about potentially, they want to learn more, they want to work with you. Now, product market fit is being able to deliver on that message consistently at scale. So with any new business, you first need to find a problem that you can solve for people. And you have to find a way of communicating about that problem that they resonate with. That's like step one. And then you need to work very closely with those initial partners or those initial clients, and build your product around those clients. And then once you're able to systemize that and do it consistently for lots and lots of people, that's when you scale up. So we've been kind of holding back on scale for that very reason, is we needed something that we can, I'm not interested in bringing a load of clients on and then just not being able to deliver because it's too much work for us, or we don't have the systems, or we don't have the infrastructure or the people. So we had to build that out first and then kind of scale up, if that makes sense.
And then we've got different types of products within B2B. So we have our accelerator clients and we have our growth partners. With this goal, are you looking purely at growth partners? Are you looking at bringing more accelerator clients? And can you kind of explain the difference between the two?
Yeah, totally. So this is what we've learned is we want to basically create kind of an ecosystem around our product offering. So we want different levels of engagement depending on where people are and what they need from us, and what's going to be best suited to that company. So broadly speaking, we have two main ways of working with people. We are considering adding a third in the future, which I won't talk about now. But the two main ways that we work with companies are something we refer to as a growth partnership, and then something that we refer to as our growth accelerator or growth consulting. So those are the two options. It's always about helping them apply a growth framework to help them grow their business. And it just depends on the level of engagement that they need from us. Is it a partnership where we're really very hands-on and we come in almost as like co-owners of the company, for which we only have a handful of partners, so we're very selective about who we work with on that basis? Or is it us coming in as a consulting team and helping them set up all the systems and then coaching them and consulting them through that process so that they can build that in their own business? So those are the two different ways of working with us. And it just depends on the types of customers that want to speak with us and the type of demos that we book. So it will just depend on who I speak to. And I'm still conducting all of the initial consultations, by the way. So we still don't have a sales team. We don't as the founder, I want to be very involved in that process of kind of gatekeeping and making sure we're bringing on the right partners and for us. And so it depends on the people that I speak with and what we agree is best for their business.
Great. So let's come back to the big goal. The big goal for quarter one. You've spoken through some of the metrics. Can you talk more about like the steps of how do we actually plan to achieve this?
Yes. So we're talking primarily about LinkedIn, which is our primary channel. This is where we get the majority of our business. It's probably 80% comes from LinkedIn. And the beauty of a paid ads campaign on a platform like LinkedIn, the same would be true of any other kind of social platform, is that in theory, once you've found something that works, in theory, you increase your ad spend and you get more results on the back end. Now, you're always going to find points where the results plateau and you need new strategies to get to the next level. But this is what we sort of love about the demand building, demand generation style of advertising that we do is like with a lead gen campaign, you need an absolutely killer ad that works at scale. Whereas with the approach we're taking, it's a much more slow approach of acquiring customers. We can afford to spread our spend across different ads, which makes us kind of more diversified in that sense. So the plan is to basically continue in the same vein we're doing and to basically spend more on that process. So we have cold ads, which are designed to generate awareness and bring people into the top of the funnel. We have warm ads, which are designed to help people with that consideration phase, get to know us a little bit, see our track record, see how we think about things. And then we have ads, which we call a hot layer, which are more about conversion. So, giving people an opportunity to put their hand up and kind of expressing interest in potentially working with us. So we're going to follow that same process and we're just going to try and spend more and see what happens.
Can you break down, just tell me about what the creatives are at each layer, what you're currently running in the cold, warm, and hot?
I sure can. Yeah. I'm going to go into our LinkedIn campaign manager now. I don't spend a lot of time in here now, so I might get a bit lost, but
you can share your screen if you like.
Yeah, let's try this. Hopefully there's not anything too confidential.
I'll just blur it out.
Yeah, just blur any client names or anything. So you can see here we've got the three layers of campaign. So we've got cold, we've got warm, and we've got hot. So this is cold is basically, just to really oversimplify it, this is people who are not aware of our brand yet. So they probably haven't come into contact with us before. Warm is people who have interacted with some of our content in one way or another. They've visited our company page on LinkedIn. They've been to our website, perhaps. They've engaged with our cold layer of advertising. And then hot is people who have visited high intent pages on the website, like the book a demo page or the pricing page, for example, or people who have engaged with our warm content. So we know that they've seen us at least a few times. And so this, in theory, you can build your kind of marketing funnel at scale. So the cold ads are almost entirely, we're not asking for anything here in our cold ads, basically. So mostly they're built around what we refer to as our UUIs, so our kind of unique insights. So for example, one of our unique insights is the difference between marketing and growth. And sorry, I'm just going to have to pause for a second. Sorry, we had to have a short intermission there because someone started drilling into the wall next to my head, which is why I've now got my noise cancelling headphones on. Classic, the joys of working from home. So I was just talking about our awareness campaigns. So we're not asking for anything here. They're not commercial. We just want people to see kind of some of our core messages and consume them. We call these UUIs, or unique useful insights. So these are some of the principles that we kind of build our business on. One of them, we talk about something which we refer to as the difference between doing marketing and growing. So a lot of companies get stuck in a sort of cycle of spending time, energy, and money on marketing and not getting results. We call that doing marketing. And so there's a short video here which I basically explain why that's happening. And then there's another video here where we talk about the difference between demand gen and lead gen. And this is one of our big kind of unique useful insights. So we have those in video version, and we've also just launched them in image version as well to see the difference in kind of engagement levels there. And then within the warm campaign, we have some case studies and social proof. So sharing some, examples of companies we've helped, the results we've been able to achieve, et cetera, et cetera. They're seeing our unique, useful insights again. And then we also have some longer videos and longer pieces of content, which are really breaking down pieces of our strategy. So how to pick the right marketing channel. This is a video here, which kind of breaks down this kind of almost the strategy that I'm talking about today in a 7 or 8 minute video, and the results that we achieve from it. So this is much more in-depth content, whereas the ones in the cold layer are typically more digestible, kind of shorter pieces of content. And then in the hot layer, we've got a couple of little tests that we're running. This is probably the area where we've experimented the least, so it's more difficult for me to give kind of advice on this layer. In general, we use our website as the conversion mechanism. So we call them marketing assets on the website. And so basically what we're trying to do with this advertising and this content is build out the top of funnel. And then ultimately we want people to jump on our website, check out our case studies, check out our growth protocol video, and if they like what they see, they're going to book in a call to speak with us. So we're trying some stuff in terms of hot ads on LinkedIn to get people to sort of like put their hand up and that sort of thing. But for the most part, most of the converting happens on the website at the moment.
Okay, and then something I spotted there while you were sharing your screen is that there is also a US campaign that we're experiencing with. So previously we've serviced maybe the EU and the UK quite heavily. Can you talk a little bit about your strategy to target the US market?
Yeah, well, we're really getting into the details there. So we focus primarily on the UK and some parts of Europe previously for our advertising campaigns, just because we wanted to start small and then expand from there. We have probably 60% of our clients are from the UK, and then we have clients from all around the world as well. So we're increasing our advertising spend. You don't just want to spend more and reach the same people more times. You need to be able to reach more people. So we had a feeling that we were starting to reach the limits of what we could achieve within the UK marketplace for the ad spend that we had. And so we wanted to open up new markets. And obviously the US market is absolutely enormous. And so we wanted to test, like, do our advertising campaigns resonate there, that people want what we have to offer, etc. So that's why we're looking at the US. And what we always do with all of these campaigns is we start relatively small. You have to be really scientific with this. So start relatively small. And then if you see that it's working, you start to slowly ramp up the ad spend from there.
Perfect. And then, so along this process, how are you going to be tracking performance?
Yeah. So we look at it on a daily and a weekly basis. So we actually collect results every day. I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you've got a reasonable ad spend. So if it's less than maybe £100 a day, then it's probably not worth doing it every day. And then on a weekly basis, we look at our cost per demo is probably the key kind of KPI that we look at from a marketing perspective. So long as that's within a range that's acceptable for us, we'll probably continue to slowly, incrementally ramp up the ad spend. And then my guess is we'll hit a point, and I don't know what that point is, but we'll hit a point where we see diminishing returns. And at that stage, we maybe need to consider a new channel or a new platform. But for us, I rather maximize what we're already doing and like absolutely wring that out completely before looking at other channels at the moment.
Amazing. And something that we have experienced in the past is what we call ad fatigue. How do we track our ads and ad fatigue, and what do we do? We've got like quite a scientific way in which we test our ads and reiterate on them.
Yes, and it might be best at some point to talk to our head of performance marketing or someone from our performance marketing team who actually like does this all day, every day, and really understands it probably better than I do. But from a strategic perspective, we measure the ads. The traditional ways of measuring advertising is things like cost per click, cost per lead, et cetera, et cetera. So how many people are clicking on the ad or going to your website? We actually look at it quite differently. Because it's demand gen, we don't necessarily want them to click on the ad. We want them to consume the content. So for example, if it's a video, we're optimizing for what is the view rate, like how many people are actually watching it, what is the completion rate, how many people watch it all the way to the end. How long do people on average dwell time? So how long on average do people actually watch through of the video? So that's really what we optimize for. And then you can obviously measure frequency. And so if people are seeing the same ad, if people are seeing the same ad more than like 5 times in a sort of 30-day period, then probably that's a sign that we're getting some fatigue if the results are declining. And in which case we need to switch it up. So we need a new creative. So that's how we tend to think about it. And then we basically benchmark all of our metrics, so that we know like this is within KPI, this is out of KPI. And obviously this is what we do with all of our partners as well. So because we have access to a lot of data across a lot of different companies, we're able to see like, okay, you're within KPI, this is out of KPI, we need a new creative, et cetera, et cetera.
And it's something you've mentioned quite a few times in this chat, and it seems obvious to us because we work in this industry every single day, but we're talking about demand gen content. It's not lead gen content. What is the difference and why do we take a demand gen strategy?
Yeah, totally. I feel like I've talked about this so much, but there might be people listening to this that haven't heard it before. So lead gen marketing is about trying to generate leads today. So it's trying to get in-market buyers, and it's trying to get their contact information and reach out to them, set up a call with them, whatever. So naturally what that is that's the bottom of your marketing funnel. So if you look at your big marketing funnel here, you've got people who are in the very top who are just aware of you, but they're not even thinking about buying from you. You've got people in the middle who are just considering. So they're aware of you, but they're still not ready to buy. And then you've got that conversion sort of proportion at the bottom of the funnel. So if you look at all of the companies you could potentially work with, it's a really, really small percentage who are ready to buy from you right now. So there's all of these other people, probably 95 or plus %, who are not ready to buy from you at the moment. And what most B2B companies do, like most B2B companies between 1 and sort of 10 million in revenue, they spend 100% of their time, energy, and marketing budget on the conversion part of the marketing funnel, which is like lead gen. So they're running lead gen style ads where they're trying to get people's contact information. They are spending money on Google ads, like high intent Google ads. They're spending money on SEO. And these are all good things to do, but it's only a very, very small part of your marketing process. And so what we're trying to get people to do is spend more time, energy, and money on all of the rest of it. So think about your entire marketing funnel. So you should be spending money to just get people aware of you. And then you should be spending money to take people from being aware of you to actually considering buying your product. And the big difference is that the ads don't feel commercial. They don't feel like ads. And so we're very slanted towards that. Nearly all of our advertising spend is not asking for anything. And we found that overall that we generate a better result.
Can I just say that that's actually much harder to do in practice, especially as a creative, to try and get clients to create content that doesn't sell their product or service. It's like an unlearning that needs to happen, like a shift, because obviously everybody wants to talk about why they're great and why their product and service is great. And It's about teaching people to rather just create value-based educational content instead of salesy style content.
Yes. And it has to be strategic as well. You can't just create content for the sake of creating content and then expect that people will buy from you. So we talk about, collecting we call them UUIs, unique useful insights. And you're absolutely right. So what happens whenever I talk about this concept of UUIs with a new partner, they hear it as USPs. So they hear it as unique selling points. So I talk about unique useful insights, etc. And then usually the discussion veers towards like, this is what's great about our product. This is why we're better than our competitors, et cetera, et cetera. And that is good to know. But what I try and encourage people is, rather than trying to sell your product or your service, try and sell the insights for the principles that underline your product or service. So in our case, as an example, we sell the fact that growth is different to marketing. So if you want growth, you shouldn't go to a marketing agency. You shouldn't hire a marketing manager, in my opinion. You need to hire someone who can do growth. And it's different than marketing, in my opinion. And so if people buy into that concept, that's one step towards them working with us. We're a growth partner. We're a growth consulting company. So if they buy into that concept, it's one step towards potentially working with us. If they buy into the fact that a demand generation or demand building strategy is going to work for their business, and they want to kind of move away from a lead gen approach to a demand gen approach, that's very much our philosophy. So if they buy into that, they're much more likely to buy into us as a company. But at no point do we say we're the best growth partner out there or work with us. We say, you actually need growth as a company. You don't need marketing. And that's what I'm trying to sell to people with our content. And I find that's way more effective because people aren't being sold to. They're being kind of educated, which is a very different feeling.
Amazing. Okay, this is the last question I have for you. So the strategy is obviously going to work for us as a B2B growth consultancy, if that's what we're calling it. What other clients do you think could benefit from this strategy? What other business do you think could implement a similar strategy and see good results?
Good question. So we have a full breakdown of our growth protocol on our website. So for anyone that's interested, I would go check that out. And I posted about a case study that we have a couple of days ago on LinkedIn, where we basically took a company from zero to a point now where they're generating inbound demand. Every month they generate something like 10 to 20 inbound high quality leads per month, which from zero to now is like a huge difference in their business. And that's all been done with Google search. So they actually haven't done anything on LinkedIn yet. And they're looking to maybe consider, alternative platforms now, and we're working with them on that. So I'm not saying that everyone should be advertising on LinkedIn, but I do think that our protocol and our framework works really well for B2B companies. That's why we're called B2B. And typically it's your higher ticket businesses. So if you're relatively high profit, you make a good amount of, your ticket size is relatively high. Those are the sorts of companies that this will definitely work for. But if you're curious, I'd recommend you watch that video. It's about 20 minutes long, and that will give you more of a flavor of who it's for and who it can work for and who will see the best results from it.
Amazing. Okay, so how do we make ourselves accountable after this episode?
Good question. I mean, I think we just keep people up to date with the process, with the progress. We probably can't do it literally live, so it might have to be on like a month delay or something like that. But we'll keep you up to date with how it's going. We've already increased our ad spend, so we're doing it on a weekly basis. We're going to look at whether we increase or I don't think we'll decrease our ad spend, but either increase or maintain our ad spend. So after week 1, we were, the metrics were really good, so we decided to increase it. And so that's how we're doing it as a team. And we'll just keep everyone up to date with the process.
I'll also be sharing some of our results in our newsletter. So if anyone wants to find out more about the results, they can sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah, if you want kind of like hot off the press info and kind of building public updates, that is the best way to hear them. Sometimes we don't share stuff on LinkedIn that we share in there. It's just kind of guaranteeing that you'll get the info. So we never sell anything through the newsletter. So if you want those kind of up-to-date build and public updates, you can find them on our website.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited to watch this plan come into fruition. Thanks so much, David.